Yeah, so I'm just kind of gonna wing this. Really bad on camera, I know I am. Uh, but before I get into what I want to talk about, because it really bothered me what I saw yesterday. First of all, cut my hair off. It's a lot cooler in Texas. Normally I'd be in a tank top, but it's cooler. And here's the hair I'm setting off to Wigs for Kids. It looks like a lot, but if you see what was in our shower drain on a daily basis, it seems kind of sad. I thought there would be more. And I'm not playing anything for you. It's just I don't like being on camera or stage or nothing. So this is my security blanket. I feel safe with it. Um, that's how I was able to play on stage because I was behind my bass. And this is the first one that was ever given to me. It's an early '70s Gibson, and thank you Clarence Brown for giving this to me when I was 15. I love it. Um, so I'm gonna fidget. I'm gonna move. I have ADD, and I'm really upset about something that happened yesterday. And I was at a Dunkin' Donuts, which is not the upsetting part. That's an amazing thing. Anytime you're at a Dunkin' Donuts, it's glorious. And I was meeting with a man named Dave at Dunkin' Donuts for coffee, and he asked to meet there. And I said, he said, "Is that okay?" He asked, "Is that okay?" I said, "You will never have to twist my arm to have Dunkin' Donuts coffee or tea or whatever. It's amazing." Um, and he's Catholic. And we were sitting across from each other, and he works for Knights of Columbus, which is insurance. And I was talking to him about my business and seeing if I could be a resource to my community for him. And all of a sudden, he just kind of stopped talking, and his eyes got kind of big, and he said, "Look at that." And I turned around, I turned my head. And outside of Dunkin' Donuts, and if you're not familiar with Waco, we have a road called Valley Mills. And if I could equate that to your neighborhood, it would be like a large boulevard. And there was two white guys in their 20s, and one of them had long hair. Maybe both did. I just remember the one waving like they were on display, walking down this boulevard, busy street. And the one guy, who I don't remember his hair, he had a cross that he was carrying over his shoulder. But the thing was, I'm going to try not to curse a lot here because I'm so annoyed by it, and I had to get this off my chest before I could kind of move on with life. The back of the cross, the butt of the cross, was on a wheel. So he was wheeling this thing down Valley Mills. I think it's Drive. It should be called Boulevard, but they call it Drive here, I think. Um, in front of the Dunkin' Donuts. And Dave, who's very Catholic, was upset by it. And I'm not Catholic, but we believe in very similar things. We have a very similar faith. In fact, I even have this here with the rosary with a dagger on the end because obedience is hard, but we're called to do it, to do the right thing. And so that's the battle, is trying to do the right thing when you don't even want to. And it's painful. It can be painful. Um, so there's these two white guys walking down, and I only say white because I don't necessarily believe in the concept of white privilege, and I know that's controversial because I work my ass off, and I saw my father come from nothing and work his ass off. But man, did that look like some white privilege. Like when people try and describe it to me, that's what it looked like. Like you couldn't even be a man and carry the wood down it. You had to put it on a wheel, right? And then on top of that, and Dave and I kind of joked about it, that cross was perfectly cut with all of the right 90-degree angles. It wasn't, and it was sanded down too, right? So it wasn't jabbing in the back. And I don't get offended easily. I don't even know if I'm offended. I'm just angry at what that displayed. Because I take my masculinity very seriously, and I take my faith very seriously. And I think that was blatantly disrespectful. Not to me, but to what I believe in and to who I was created as a man. So if you want to take this back, and I don't like to talk about religion, whatever, a lot, but you know, if you read it, Jesus was found guilty when he didn't do anything. It was a total political, um, religious zealot, overzealous move because they feared him, because he actually spoke truth, and because he broke culture barriers, like protecting women and giving women a voice, and he was the real feminist, and I hate that word too, but he was, and he protected children, and he was just amazing, and super strong, super strong. So if you read it, he was beat to the point where it was beyond what the Romans considered what would kill you with a whip, because they had bones and pieces of glass and whatnot. And they just beat him, tore out his flesh, bleeding all over. You probably could see his organs. And then they threw on, they say the crown of thorns, and everyone's like, oh, it's this little thing on a Norwegian looking guy with blue eyes. Those things were about that big, man. And some of them were that big. And they smashed it on his face. It probably was in his eyes. And then they made him carry this weird construct of a cross to his death. And they didn't shave it down or give it 90-degree angles because they didn't care. They were just going to crucify you on it. So you're dead man walking. Why spend the time? So he's got that on his shoulders and his back too. He's dehydrated. I mean, you're bleeding out like that heavily. And you now have this crude wood going into your body. And he couldn't do it anymore. And probably 99.99999% of all people would have died before that. And he didn't. And so, I don't know. It angered me to see that. It angered me to see that. It was disrespectful. And there's this dialogue about Western Christianity. And it frustrates me because I do agree that it cheapens what really happened. It cheapens what really happened. And it cheapens what happens for, like, right now in China. I know that recently people that believe what I do were killed. And it sickens me that we can have two beta millennial males, straight up betas, because they had to put a wheel on the damn thing, walking down Valley Mills in my neighborhood, waving like they're prom queens or something. I don't know what their motive was. It was ridiculous. It was a lie. It was a lie. Trust me, what happened and the way I described it was not a pageant. Nobody wanted to go through that. Nobody would ever want to go through that. And I understood that in the third grade. And that's why I believe what I do. Because there's nobody, no one, that would ever do that for me. Ever. So, I'm not trying to be depressing. I just wanted to bring that out and to light, because we cheapen stuff here so much. Everything's so plastic. And we need to get away from that. And we need to appreciate value. Because value is expensive. Right? Plastic's cheap. We can manufacture it over and over. And that goes to relationships too. We need to value those things. Anything that has value is expensive, or time consuming, or it's really, really hard. And I just want to leave that with you guys.